Hey guys, LeAnna here, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to talk to you about what to expect after having a baby, also what to expect after having a C-section. But before I delve into today's video, I just want to remind you to go ahead and click subscribe and click the little notification bell so you know when I upload new videos, so you get all this amazing content by yours truly, so don't forget to click. I was inspired to do this video because I have a lot of friends that are pregnant and they are either about ready to pop or they've just popped or they're planning to have a baby in the extreme immediate near future. And I just thought it would be kind of cool to do a little video kind of talking about those things that nobody really talks about. Because I know that even when I was pregnant, there were things that even though I'm in that circle that people just were not talking about. If you're already a mom, you're gonna go, oh, yes, I know. And if I've forgotten anything, please let me know in the comments below because I wanna know what everybody was going through because everybody kind of emphasizes their own things. You remember specific parts more than others, so it's really cool to see what other women remember. I have a whole list here on my computer in front of me, and I'm gonna kind of go down the list, so none of these are in any particular order. I just kind of wrote them down as I remembered them. Get some tea here before I give the tea. That's the kind of comedy gold you're here for, folks. The first one is actually a story about crying because immediately postpartum for like the first month or two, you're just gonna be crying. You're just gonna be like for no reason, like legit no reason. I remember, I think my son wasn't even a week old. I think I might have been home from the hospital like 2 days, maybe 3. And my kitchen to my living room is about, I'm looking at it right now, about like what, 2 feet, 3 feet? I mean, it's not far, right? So I'm carrying this plate of Chinese food and I guess I was really looking forward to it because I remember walking and I dropped it. I don't know why I dropped it. I can't remember why I dropped it. Just fell. It hit the ground and I looked down at it and I was like, and this is my plate. So I had it and I was just like, I mean like tears just coming down my face and all I wanted was, I was like, all I want is my Chinese food. And I was just, I mean like ugly crying over Chinese food, guys. Chinese food. And what it is the hormones are flushing out of your system, and so your emotions are just like, what? My husband's like, chill, it's okay, like we can get you more Chinese food. I'm like, but I wanted that Chinese food. Like it's irrational. It's gonna be irrational crying, which the second thing I wrote down was crying a lot because you're going to feel these ups and downs of emotions, and it's gonna be the stupidest stuff that you're gonna cry at, like dropping Chinese food on the floor. So just be prepared for a lot of crying. You're just gonna be like, you're just gonna have something in your hand one day and be like, it's pink. And you're gonna have no idea why. Another thing is you're gonna be exhausted. And I mean, you thought you were exhausted during pregnancy, you're gonna be so exhausted because of the fact that now you have a tiny human to take care of that you have to be up with every like 2 to 4 hours, unless you are one of those lucky people who has a baby who sleeps through the night from the beginning, in which case, I hate you. Just get ready for that because of the fact that you are healing from either pushing a child out of your body or having major surgery. Hello, C-section moms. And you're already having to take care of a tiny human. Most people, when they go in to have a major surgery or have like something vacate their body in some manner, you're gonna have like, what, at least 6 to 8 weeks, if not more, of bed rest. And you don't get that. Not only that, you don't get the rest, but then they're like, oh, by the way, here's a tiny human to take care of. Bye-bye, see you later. Make sure you buckle them in right. And that's it. So it's exhausting, but beautiful. And along with that tiredness, you are going to be so sore. And I know that mamas who've had their babies, I hate saying the natural way, but mamas who've had their babies, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the other word or not, but you know what? I do my other vlog, so who cares? Women who've had their babies vaginally can definitely attest to the fact that you feel sore. And of course, these are all gonna be sweeping generalizations. Of course, there's gonna be moms that are like, oh, it was just like a Saturday afternoon in the park and there I had a baby. But we're just gonna make generalizations here. Now, with C-sections, yeah, that's gonna be a whole other level of sore, especially if you've never had major surgery before, like me. Let me rephrase. I had my wisdom teeth out, all right? So I had that kind of soreness, but I've never had layers of flesh and fat and tissue and everything just sliced open and a human torn out of me. especially a 10-pound, 6-ounce human. So my son better never forget a Mother's Day. But you're gonna be extremely sore and sensitive, and it's gonna be painful. And I know that with C-section mamas, you are gonna be worried about your incision. Now, I was lucky in that I had dissolvable stitches, meaning that I didn't have to go back and have the staples removed or the stitches removed. But I know that they still use staples and stitches. I can't attest to that, but I have spoken to women and moms who have had that done, and they said, yeah, they were always terrified that their staples were just gonna fly out everywhere and their insides were just gonna fall out of their body, which didn't happen, but still terrifying thought. Basically with that, just a little bit of care, just make sure that it has time to breathe. Make sure you're washing that area when you're allowed to. Follow your doctor's recommendations. Mine just kind of said, make sure warm water kind of gets splashed down there. Don't actually rub your incision line with soap. Go right above it and let the soap kind of drip down over your incision line, because you do want to keep it clean. It is a wound, it is healing, so you do want to keep it clean, but you don't want to like scrub it or do anything harsh. But also just make sure that you do pat it dry after a shower, because you also don't want to get moisture to lock in there, especially if you've got that mama pooch hanging out over it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I should say most of you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't have a mama pooch, go join the others that I hate. Another thing that you're gonna look forward to is feeling absolutely clueless and stupid, because you're presented with this tiny human and you think, oh, you know what, babysat, or in my case, like I've been around kids and you got a baby and you're like, what are this? They let me come home from the hospital with this thing. Like, I mean, I was prepared and I had luckily had my mother with me for 2 weeks, but still there's stuff that comes up all the time where you're like, you're on the phone with the doctor like, hey, yeah, it's me again. I have it on speed dial. Is this poop normal? Or are these boogers normal? Is this sleep pattern normal? Is it okay if he spits up? Why is my daughter bleeding? Like she's got a period, like she was just born. And yes, I am using the baby monitor as my phone. When you're recording on your phone, you can't use your phone. So you are gonna be feeling clueless about those kinds of things. So that's why moms go to the internet to ask questions, and then that's why they get a bunch of thrown back in their face, because everybody's got their own opinion. And along with all these wonderful feelings, you're not gonna feel ready to work out. Now, I know there are some women out there who do, because I do know people who were like, oh, I had a baby 2 days ago and I got a 5K this Saturday, and they're like totally cool with that, which again, join the others. But I definitely did not feel up to working out, nor should I have, because I did have a C-section, which is major surgery. Again, don't ever put down a C-section mama and be like, oh, you didn't have your baby the natural way. Oh, you had the easy way out. There is nothing easy about recovering from major surgery, y'all. Nothing easy about it. Not belittling the fact that I'm not saying it's easy to push a baby out of your vajayjay either, but let's stop fighting each other on this topic. We're all moms. We all expelled a human out of our body or adopted a human. We're all moms. Let's just get along. So you're just not really feeling ready enough to work out. Now, before I had my son, my style was I did like to work out and I did like to eat healthy, but I also didn't turn down pizza or tacos if they were offered to me, and you could tell. So that's kind of like that was my body type, right? So I was used to kind of working out. And then when I got pregnant with my son, it was my second pregnancy, but my first baby. The first one did not make it. I did a vlog on my miscarriage, which was actually my very first vlog. I'll try to link that down below. I was had a lot of anxiety, and I was terrified of doing anything that might harm the pregnancy, and it was irrational. It was a rational fear, but you think irrationally sometimes after you've had that happen to you. I didn't work out. I walked and stuff, but then I didn't work out as much as I should have, which is something I would change if we had another baby. I also tend to carry forward. Apparently I show early and I carry forward and I carry huge, and apparently have giant Viking babies. So it was really difficult for me to even breathe near the end there. So walking across the room was about the most exercise I could do. But after I had my son, I was cleared. My incision looked great. My doctor who did the actual C-section was amazing. You can barely see my scar. I was cleared to work out at 6 weeks postpartum, but I didn't, light, start off walking and then, go for it. But I didn't feel like it. I could just tell that my body just wasn't quite ready to get back into it. So I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited some more. And then it wasn't until my son was born in August, I would say probably around my birthday, which would have been that following April, where I really, really decided, hey, I'm going to start working out. I did go for walks every day. I did do that. But I didn't really feel quite up for actual working out until 8 months postpartum. So work at your own pace. I remember this one. Another fun one is, and if you've just had a baby or if you've had babies, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. If you've not had your baby yet, listen up, because this is coming for you. The second your kid pops out of you, however they come out, your nurse, the doctor is going to turn to you and go, okay, and have you thought about birth control? What are you going to do for birth control? And you're sitting there like, I just expelled the human out of my body. Like, I'm not really thinking about birth control at this point. They will ask you that question. They will say, have you thought about birth control? Do you want a prescription for the pill, the patch, the blah, 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 blah? Do you want any of this stuff? So I remember my nurse asking me, and she was like, oh, have you thought about birth control? Like, what are you going to do for birth control? And I just turned to her, I looked her dead in the eye, and I said, I'm pretty sure these mesh panties are going to work for birth control. So she about died laughing. Because y'all, mesh panties, I know some women swear by them. I bought cotton high-waisted granny panties. I cannot handle the mesh undies. But yeah, they are definitely a mode of birth control. Just, if you're ever worried about your husband touching you, just walk out and some mesh panties. That'll kill the mood right there. Going along with things that happen immediately, can we talk about that first poop? Like, seriously. I've heard this from moms who've delivered vaginally and C-section moms. That first one is like, there's no words to describe it. And I don't know if it's any extra for vaginal delivery moms, which you guys can chime in down below. But with C-section, you have the incision line, which sits, you know, not just below your belly button. It sits like in your hip line, where they take a baby out, you know, just above your pubic bone. And I don't know if you've ever paid attention to the muscles you use when you go to the bathroom, but it's all right there. Right? So with a C-section, you're extra wondering if you're gonna take a poo and your intestines are gonna fall on the floor while you're having a poo. And it's super painful, and you feel like I don't even know, you feel like a very incapable person, we'll say that. But also that it's painful. I'm not even gonna lie to you, it's straight up painful. Like for me, I had my incision lines, and so I had all of that going on, and then it's just pain. And I've heard that from vaginal delivery moms too. They were like, oh no, honey, that first poopy poop after birthy birth. Some women I'm sure have no problems, but just be prepared for that one. If you haven't had a baby yet, be prepared for that one. They won't discharge you from the hospital until you've had that first poo. Another great physical one to look forward to is postpartum hair loss. That's right, ladies. Look at these nice little wispy wisps here. Yeah. See, I thought I was gonna miss out. I thought I was gonna miss out on the whole postpartum hair loss because it was like 9 months. I mean, I had no hair loss. My hair was looking good, but I still continued my prenatal vitamins because I was told that too, especially if you breastfeed, to continue your prenatal vitamins. I was like, oh, my hair's still looking good. Like, my hair doesn't fall out any more than normal. I've got light hair naturally, so my hair always falls out a lot. But I have a lot of hair. I have very fine hair, but I have a lot of it. I will say the texture and consistency of my hair didn't change. I know some women say that it did for them. Mine didn't. What was it? My son was about a year old when I noticed the postpartum hair loss. I mean, because like I said, my hair falls out normally, but even I was going, there's so much hair. Like, am I going bald? And it was that, but also coupled with, like I was just showing you, these little postpartum bangs things you got going here. Like, they're like little tiny wisps everywhere. I'm like, I don't cut bangs anymore. Like, I can't do bangs anymore. But like these little, look at this. Can you even see that on the camera? You're gonna lose hair. It's just gonna happen. I feel like I didn't lose as much as I probably would have if I didn't keep going with my prenatals. So definitely keep going with your prenatals. There's not really anything, unless you have an iron issue. I don't think there's a real reason for you to not ever take them if you're not pregnant. Like, I don't think it's gonna hurt you. If you have iron deficiencies, or not deficiencies, if your body makes too much iron, then you might have a problem, but ask your doctor with that. But yeah, your hair's gonna fall out. I've seen some women where their hairlines like receded, it comes out in clumps, your hair just gets super thin because of the fact that it's all falling out. So just be prepared for that one. But another one on the emotional front is you're gonna miss your old routine. You're gonna miss your old self, and you're gonna feel super guilty about it. You're gonna feel like, oh, I should just be super into my baby and not thinking about anything else. But it's completely normal to think about your previous life, because this is a whole new life. Even if you've had one kid before, you now having 2 or 3 or 4, it's a whole lifestyle switch. It's not like you just changed a job. Like, you added a whole new human to your household. You added a human to your life that you are responsible for. And so it's totally normal to miss your old routine, to miss the fact that you could just get up and put on a pair of pants and go to the store and not have to sit there and plan out outfits, snacks, bottles, meals, clothes, and pack everything and make sure the car seat's in right and do all this. Like my friend and I joke about that all the time. Do you remember the days when we could just be like, hey, do you want to go out for coffee? Sure, I'll see you in 5. Awesome, see you then. And you could just like throw on clothes and go out the door. Now if you call them up, you're like, hey, you want to meet for coffee in 5 minutes? No, I've got to pack a diaper bag, I've got to get clothes, I've got a diaper, I got this. I'll see you in like 2 hours. 2 hours is good. That gets so difficult. And it's not that you don't love your children or you want to trade in your life or anything. That's not it at all. But you are mourning essentially the loss of the person that you were, but you've also, when you gave birth to your child, you also birthed a new you. You birthed a mother. So you are a new person. You gave birth to 2 people that day, your baby and yourself as a mother now. So it's completely normal to miss your old life, to miss being able to just go and do things when you want to miss being able to walk around the store and not have somebody attached to your body at all times or have to think about somebody all the time. And it's completely normal. And don't feel guilty about it. Everybody goes through it. If they say they haven't, they're lying. Which also ties back into it is not having any free time. A lot of people give moms a lot of gruff because they're like, why are you staying up so late? You shouldn't stay up so late. You should be sleeping so you can be energized for the kid. And it's like, look, you spend the entire day taking care of the kid. And if you work, I've always worked from home, but I know a lot of you are now working from home. If you work from home, that nighttime is the time you get a lot of good work done. Like you can work little bits throughout the day, but you focus a lot more on your work at night. I'm not a morning person and I know that, so I adjust my schedule accordingly, but you get that kind of stuff done. Maybe you fold the laundry, housework, or heck, you just sit there and watch a movie because you want to. And it's your time. It's your time or your work time or whatever. And that's why moms stay up so late. It is normal to mourn the fact that you don't have the free time anymore to just sit and play video games or read a book or do whatever. And that's why you start to realize that your mom didn't really have any hobbies. When you're like, Mom, what do you like to do for fun? And she was like, I don't take care of you. Like, because of the fact that it's just your whole life revolves around your child, which is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, but it's also perfectly fine to mourn the fact that you don't have the free time or the availability to just go and do the things that you want to do. Taking showers with your baby. I did add this one in here because I know that there are some moms who physically take a shower with the baby. Like they hold the baby, they take the shower. And then there's other moms who are like, what do I do with the baby? I don't want them in the shower with me because I might accidentally drop them, but I can't leave them by themselves because hello, they're newborn, or especially if you're a new mom like I was. And I was like, no, I'm not leaving my kid in the other room, and my husband was at work and I had nobody else home, so you gotta figure it out. I ended up putting my son in the swing, putting him in the bathroom with me, which dual purpose. 1, kept him in the bathroom with me, and 2, he did have a couple of colds when he was a few months old, and it actually helped because of the steam in the bathroom. So this, between the steam and the nose Frida, cleared him right out. So moms, if you're wondering about that, put him in the bathroom with the steam on and also get a nose Frida. Sounds gross, looks gross, is not gross, is amazing. And I wanted to note for you C-section mamas, I did talk a little bit about what to expect after a C-section, and I did talk about worrying about your incision, wondering if you're just gonna fall out everywhere, etc., etc. And I did do a whole video on things they don't tell you about a C-section and kind of like C-section tips, which I will link in the eye and put down below. It is an older vlog of mine, so you're definitely gonna see a different look to it. So I'm just gonna apologize for that right now, but you know, we all gotta live and learn, right? That one will give you a little bit more tips on stuff if you're wondering about like how I got through my healing process. But I did want to say that 21 months later, some of my feeling in my lower abdomen has come back. I can tell just by touching the top part of my skin, but some has not. And I do get either numbness or pain every once in a while down in my incision area if it's hit the right way or touched the right way, because it could even be a light touch and then it just sends like nerve pain down my stomach, and which looks funny because you're like, I literally just like tapped you and you're like screaming murder. And it's like, yeah, it's nerve pain. And it's funny too because I touched like one side of my incision and I can feel it on the other side, which is kind of funny. Also on that, this is gonna sound like a real pro, but when I'm working out, I cannot feel it in my lower abs, which sounds like, why are you complaining? Like that sounds like a first world problem to me. But it sucks because I don't get that feedback to know if I'm even doing it, the move right. You know, like if you're working out and you can feel it in your abs, you're going, oh, okay, I know I'm working out. That's sending the signal to your brain that's like, hey, you're doing this right. But if you don't have that feedback, that loop is lost. And so I actually sometimes have to physically go and touch my stomach to make sure that I have tight abdomen, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that my form is correct, because otherwise I have no clue. And that's 21 months later. So my son is almost 2 years old. So just so you are getting an idea of the healing process of this, because maybe you've never had a C-section before and you're curious about like, oh, well, don't you just bounce back right back to normal? And it's like, not always. And depending on your body type, how the C-section went, how it was stitched and sewn and all that kind of stuff, you may always have a permanent mama pooch. Honestly, I'm not focused on that. I'm just kind of focused on losing those last 25, 30 pounds, which I am. I did do a vlog on how I lost the initial like 40 pounds, which I'll go ahead and put somewhere, but I am in the process of filming another one with a secret ingredient that I've been testing just because, and no, it is not a chemical. It's not like any fancy kind of weight loss formula. They're not sustainable, and I'm all about more sustainability. Make sure you're subscribed and you have the little notification bell on so you'll know when I upload that video. I upload on Tuesdays and Fridays, and it won't be on a Tuesday because that's my Berry Week videos where I talk about women's reproductive health, but it will be on a Friday. That's the truth about what happens after birth, and these are just some of the things that really stick out in my mind. If you had something that I completely missed, or you were like, hey, you did not emphasize that enough, you need to go back and talk about that more, please let me know in the comments below because I'd love to hear about it. So I already told you when I upload, so make sure you're subscribed, and I have my social media down below, so make sure you're following me so we can be friends there, and I will see you next week. Bye!